Good afternoon, everyone. I'll give you a little bit of an update on Zephyr. I did present here about last May, and at that time we were going to be doing some geophysics over our target. We could read that any time you want to come over to our booth. I'll just continue on. So we've got a two-prong approach, as John mentioned. We've got our Broken Hill type target, which is really elephant hunting, and then we've got our gold zone, which we've been working on for several years. I'm going to concentrate all of my talk on the lead, zinc, silver play. It's the biggest target, and it's what we're working on right now. And so I'm just going to show you what we're doing on that. Quick location. So we're about an hour southwest of Colorado Springs by a town called Canyon City. About, I think, 30, 40 miles north of us is Newmont's Cripple Creek mine. I thought I'd throw this in here. These deposits are very specific age, 1.6 to 1.8 billion years old. That's why you don't see a lot of them. Most of them are Australia. You can see the BH on this picture here. That's Broken Hill. And at that time, 1.7 to 1.8 billion years ago, Australia was attached to Arizona. It continued to move north, but we're on that basically that same trend of rocks that you see at Broken Hill. Broken Hill, one of the largest base metal discoveries ever found in the world. 280 million tons of high grade, 18.5% combined lead zinc, and 148 grams of silver. Cannington was a blind deposit discovered by BHP Minerals that owned Broken Hill. And that discovery was made through a very specific rock. They did a big geochemical program around Broken Hill and found that a high zinc gannite mineral only occurred near the deposit. So they followed up all over Australia with these 1.7 billion year old rocks, found that that special mineral occurred up at Cannington. They knew that these things were magnetic, so they shot an airborne magnetic survey, got an anomaly, drilled it, and found Cannington in 1990 as a blind discovery. Didn't outcrop, about 60 meters below the surface, and they had 520 grams of silver, 16.7% lead zinc, and 45 million tons of it, so a huge deposit. Cannington was the largest and lowest cost silver producer for 20 years. It was really a silver mine with lead and zinc credits. I just threw this slide in. This was from BHP Minerals to show the size of the deposits. 40 million tons is a small Broken Hill deposit. And what you find here is a lot of them are very, very high grade, and they have very high silver contents. So that's silver in grams per percent of lead. On our property, we're actually running 50 grams of silver for every 1% of lead, so we've got the highest ratio of any of the Broken Hill types. This is the entire property. From side to side, it's 12 kilometers. That's our gold project. Down here, it's Green Mountain. And when we were looking at the gold project, we wanted to expand over to here. And when we press released that we were looking for gold over there, we got a call from a university professor from Iowa State, and he was the one that put us on the Broken Hill target. He's probably a handful of guys that have got the experience he has on Broken Hill targets. He's written 3 books on the subject and literally hundreds of research papers. And so he came in here, and once he told us about the Broken Hill target, we ended up staking all the rest of the ground in here. Now this is a copper gold zone. This area here has got the classic lead, zinc, silver in the middle, and I'll show you why that is. What's happened is you've got 2 faults in here. This middle section has dropped down, so it's preserved. The lead, zinc, silver on these 2 areas were up above here, and they've eroded off. So this is our only target area for the Broken Hill type lead, zinc, silver target. I won't go through a lot of this. Last time I presented here, I had shown 10 similarities between Broken Hill and our property. Since then, Dr. Spry has done a lot of research. He's got a student doing a master's thesis on this, and he's actually come up with 21 similarities between the 2. Yeah, so that's all of them there. I'll just go through a few rocks. Broken Hill has a very specific rock called a Potosi gneiss. It looks like little eyes. Those are garnets with feldspars around them. We have that on our Green Mountain and Dawson properties. There's a garnet and fibolite, which higher grade metamorphics will produce a 2-peroxene rock. That's Broken Hill, so we've got that. I won't go through this again, but again, it's very similar rocks between Broken Hill and ourselves. Again, the reason that our sample is not red is because it's not oxidized, it's from core, but again, we've got the banded iron formation. We've also got the massive exhalative rocks that we see in here. So we're very confident, and Dr. Spry is very confident, this is a Broken Hill target. This is the El Palomo section. Mickey Fulp actually did this mapping. That's 3.2 kilometers, and you can see it's mineralized along the entire trend. That's an outcrop of the mineralization. It's oxidized, of course. And we have 2 drill holes that were drilled off this pad, GC 8 and 9. Both of them hit mineralization. Just to show some core here with the magnetics, you could pick it up with a magnet. It's got a lot of magnetite in it, and that's one of the target things we're looking at. So this is our new geophysics, 2.5 kilometers long. These big purple areas are younger granites, but our target area is between those 2 faults, so that is our target. I put this in here just to show you how these magnetics work. That is the equivalent of a 10-meter wide magnetic body. If it's near surface, you get a very steep slope, and you can tell it's near surface. That's 20 meters deep. At 110 meters deep, this thing is a very shallow slope. So from that, you could do 3D inversion modeling and actually see what this magnetic body looks like in 3 dimensions underground. GC 8 and 9, so there's GC 9, and we know that the magnetic signature peaks out over here, and that's about 700 or 800 feet deeper than here. So we know that the core area of this mineralization should be down in this area. Again, GC2, again, showing the target area down there. You can see this is not quite as strong as the last one. This is a long section of our 3D modeling. So we've taken our magnetic anomaly, and we're looking north. And what you see here is this is our fault on the east side. This is one of those big granites, and these are our targets. So GC 8 and 9 were drilled here. To give you an example of the size of this, that's 400 meters by 400 meters by 250 meters. You could fit over 100 million tons of rock into this anomaly. And we've got another similar one to that. And so we're looking at some pretty giant targets here. I'm going to take you through 3 or 4 lines of, again, through the 3D. It's a bit of geology here, but it'll come to a conclusion. I'm just going to show you some lines through this 3D modeling to show you what it looks like. And I'm going to start from over here. So one thing that these Broken Hill type targets are, they're all shown to be concentrated in fold limbs. So we want some kind of folding structure in here. So we know that we've got the correct granite. We know that we've got a magnetic anomaly. The other thing we don't know that we've got yet, or we didn't know, is whether we had a fold structure. So when you look at this line here, which is this one here, you can see everything kind of dips to the south at about 60, which is our formation dips to the south at 60. So we see no structure there. We move over to the next line, and again, these are cross sections. You see basically dipping at 60 to the south, and again, probably not a lot for structure there. We move over to the next line, which is this one right here. That's our midsection. We don't have any drill holes here. And it's starting to widen up and get stronger. You can see it quite a bit more intense pink, and it's no longer dipping straight to the 60 degrees to the south. And our final line over here by holes GC 8 and 9, this again, you can see it's much more intense. It's no longer dipping to the south at all. In fact, it's dipping to the north slightly. We know these 2 drill holes, these are the 2 8 holes, drill holes 8 and 9. Both of those drill holes are dipping at 60 degrees to the south. So you've got something here that's probably going to be a fold structure, and that's why this is so intense. The 2 holes we've got there, holes 8, we've got, I believe we've got 5.5 meters of 1.9% zinc. Hole 9, slightly deeper, about 25 meters deeper. We're up to 8.2 meters of 5.3% zinc. We ran magnetic susceptibilities over those cores. These are historic holes drilled in 81. And we found that the stronger the mineralization, the stronger the magnetic values you had. So inferring that, we're looking that neither one of these holes, which had some reasonable mineralization, actually hit this massive magnetic anomaly. So our target for this summer is basically to put a hole right through that anomaly and hopefully get a giant Cannington deposit based on our geophysics, geology, and everything that we have. I guess my last statement would be that this is probably the best geological prospect I've seen in my career in 40 years. It's got the geology, it's got the geochemistry, and it's got the geophysics. Everything fits like a glove. Basically going to have to drill it and see if we actually do have one of these giant deposits or not. Thank you very much.